Welcome to our YouTube channel. Today, we're going to explore the world of DIY home decor with a focus on creating vintage charm and timeless style without breaking the bank. Whether you're a seasoned DIY enthusiast or just starting out, we've got a bunch of tips, tricks, and ideas that will inspire you to transform your space with a touch of vintage elegance. So be sure to stick around and grab your tools and supplies, because we're about to get creative. Before we jump into the DIY crafting process, it's important to take a moment and understand what makes vintage decor so uniquely appealing. Vintage charm isn't just a style, it's a celebration of history, a way to bring the past into our present in a way that feels both meaningful and timeless. It's about incorporating elements that tell a story, that carry the weight of time and memories, while creating a space that feels warm, welcoming, and full of character. At its core, vintage decor revolves around nostalgia. It's about revisiting aesthetics from bygone eras, whether that's the elegance of the early 20th century, the bold patterns of the 60s, or the cozy, lived-in vibe of the 70s. The beauty of vintage lies in its ability to evoke memories and feelings, not just through its appearance, but through the emotions it stirs in us. Each piece has a story to tell, whether it's a hand-me-down from a loved one or a secondhand find with a unique history. Some of the key elements that define vintage charm include antique furniture, which often features intricate detailing and timeless designs. These pieces not only serve as functional items in your home, but also as statements that speak to the craftsmanship of the past. Think wooden dressers with intricate carvings, ornate mirrors, or vintage armchairs with plush upholstery that have stood the test of time. One of the best ways to keep your DIY home decor projects affordable is by sourcing materials creatively. You don't have to spend a fortune to achieve that vintage charm you're after. In fact, some of the most unique and beautiful pieces come from places you might least expect. Here are a few ideas for sourcing materials on a budget that will help you transform your space without breaking the bank. 1. Thrift stores and flea markets. These places are absolute treasure troves when it comes to finding unique vintage items. From picture frames and mirrors to furniture and decor, thrift stores and flea markets often carry pieces that have been well-loved and hold a certain charm that's hard to replicate. With a little hunting, you can find one-of-a-kind items that perfectly fit your vision and often at a fraction of the cost of buying new. Online marketplaces. If you are unable to find what you need locally, online marketplaces like eBay, Craigslist, and Facebook Marketplace are great resources. These platforms are full of vintage and secondhand items being sold at great prices. You can filter by location to find nearby sellers, and with a bit of patience, you may discover some hidden gems that are just waiting for a new home. 3. Upcycling and repurposing. Don't forget to take a look around your own home for materials you can give new life. Upcycling and repurposing old items is one of the most cost-effective ways to create vintage-inspired decor. An old wooden ladder can be turned into a chic bookshelf, or mason jars can be transformed into stylish storage or vases. By looking at everyday items in a new light, you'll not only save money, but also add a personal, creative touch to your home that's truly unique. Distressed furniture. If you found an old piece of furniture that could use a little TLC, why not give it a distressed, antique-inspired look? With just a bit of sandpaper and some paint, you can transform a tired dresser or table into a statement piece. Start by painting the furniture in a color of your choice, then once the paint is dry, lightly sand the edges and surfaces to create that worn, aged look. Vintage gallery wall. One of the easiest ways to bring vintage charm into your home is by creating a gallery wall. Start by gathering thrifted picture frames in various shapes and sizes. You can mix and match styles from ornate, gilded frames to more simple, rustic ones. Then find vintage prints, family photos, or old postcards to place inside the frames. Whether you go for black and white photographs or colorful retro art, this gallery wall will serve as a nostalgic tribute to the past while adding a personal touch to your space. Handmade lace curtains. Lace curtains are the perfect way to bring a soft, romantic feel to any room. Making your own lace curtains is easier than you might think. All you need is some vintage lace fabric, a curtain rod, and basic sewing supplies. Measure your windows and cut the lace fabric to fit, then sew the edges to prevent fraying. You can even add a touch of embroidery or decorative trim for a more personalized, vintage-inspired look. Repurpose suitcase coffee table. Have an old suitcase lying around. Turn it into a charming coffee table with just a few simple adjustments. First, remove any old fabric or lining, and then add a fresh coat of paint if desired. Next, attach for sturdy legs. You can find these at most hardware stores or repurpose legs from an old piece of furniture. You can even add a glass top for a polished finish or leave it as is for a more rustic vibe. This quirky and functional piece not only adds character to your living room, but also brings a sense of adventure and nostalgia, as if it's traveled the world with you. A classic approach to vintage decorating is to start with neutral base colors like off-white, beige, or soft gray for walls and larger furniture pieces. These hues create a serene, understated backdrop that allows other elements to stand out. Once you've established your neutral base, you can add pops of color through accessories such as throw pillows, rugs, lamps, and artwork. Use paint to refresh old furniture and decor items. One of the easiest ways to incorporate vintage colors into your home is by refreshing old furniture and decor items with a new coat of paint. Opt for vintage-inspired shades like sage green, buttery yellow, or powder blue for a subtle yet impactful update. Whether it's a dresser, chair, or mirror frame, a fresh coat of paint can breathe new life into older pieces, transforming them into charming vintage treasures that feel both timeless and personal. Consider wallpaper with vintage patterns for an accent wall. Wallpaper can be a fantastic way to bring vintage patterns and textures into your home. Look for wallpapers with floral, damask, or geometric designs that reflect vintage aesthetics from past decades. These patterns can work wonders as an accent wall in a living room, bedroom, or even a hallway. Not only do they add visual interest, but they also introduce an element of nostalgia that complements the overall vintage vibe of the room. Pairing vintage wallpaper with simple furniture and neutral tones allows the wallpaper to be the focal point without feeling too busy. Once you've completed your DIY projects, the next exciting step is styling and arranging your space. This is where you get to bring everything together and create a cohesive, inviting environment that feels both personal and vintage-inspired. Here are some tips to help you style and arrange your space with a perfect balance of charm and character. Layered textures. One of the key elements of vintage decor is the use of layered textures. Combining different materials like wood, metal, fabric, and even glass adds depth and interest to your space. For example, pair a soft, plush rug with a sleek metal lamp or a wooden coffee table with a linen throw blanket. These contrasting textures create a sense of warmth and complexity, making the room feel cozy and full of personality. Don't shy away from mixing textures. Each one contributes to the vintage vibe and makes the space feel inviting. Mix and match. Vintage decor is all about embracing a variety of styles and eras, so don't be afraid to mix and match pieces from different time periods. Whether it's blending Victorian furniture with mid-century modern accents or pairing retro accessories with antique finds, combining different elements creates a unique, eclectic look. Personal touches. To make your vintage-inspired space truly your own, be sure to incorporate personal touches. Family heirlooms, vintage books, handmade crafts, or even souvenirs from your travels can add layers of meaning and history to the room. These personal items tell a story and make your space feel lived in and authentic. Achieving vintage charm and timeless style doesn't have to be expensive. With a bit of creativity and some DIY spirit, you can transform your home into a beautiful, nostalgic haven. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more DIY home decor ideas. Happy decorating!
Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.